Welcome to the Art Lady channel. Today our project is this wintry snowman, and we're going to be using crayons, a marker, and 12 by 18 sheet of paper. And this project will take approximately one art class to finish. Today's lesson is on a snowman, and we're going to be building a snowman using shapes. We're going to be using small shapes, a small circle, a medium-sized circle, and that's a little bit bigger than the small circle. And then we're going to be using a large circle right here. And these are covers from containers that I found in the kitchen. So we have a small, medium, and large shape. And we're going to be putting them together to build a snowman. Now we know that a snowman is made out of round snowballs. We put the biggest one at the bottom, so we'll be using the biggest shape for the very bottom. We want to put the biggest shape not at the bottom right here or off the bottom, but a little bit up from the bottom. So we're going to need to leave a space. And then we're going to be placing the medium one on top of the bottom one. Look how it overlaps. Do you see how this shape overlaps the bottom? So we want to put it overlapping. We don't want it to be like this where it's just touching, but an overlap. And the same thing for the top one. We're going to overlap the middle shape, which is going to be the medium shape. So let's go ahead. I'm going to show you what it's going to look like. Here's your step one. We will trace all three shapes. And I did leave a little bit of space at the top for a hat, if we want to put a hat on our snowman. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to trace our shapes. And we're not going to do this now. We're going to wait until Miss Blushie's done. We're going to trace the large shape at the bottom. Now you can either start at the bottom or you can start at the top. The top shape will be the smallest shape, okay? Or we'll start at the bottom. But either way, you want to leave a little bit of space at the bottom. So say 2 fingers at the bottom, or 2 or 3 fingers at the top, because remember, we need to leave room for the hat. So I'm going to start off, I'll start with the top then. And we're going to jump down 3 fingers and place our shape in the very middle of our page. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the marker and I'm going to put it like this. I'm going to put it on the very back of the marker, and I'm going to just simply draw around my shape. Next, I'm going to take the middle shape, which is the medium size. And you see how I'm overlapping it a little bit? Now, when I overlap, I'm not going to trace the middle part. So watch what I'm not going to do. I don't want to trace this, okay? Because I want to be able to see just the sides of my middle. So watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to overlap it a little bit, and I'm tracing just the edges that don't touch my circle. See that? Right there. And then when I remove it, the first circle is overlapping the middle circle, the medium-sized circle. And I'm going to do the same thing for the large shape. I'm going to put it down. Now watch, if I put it down, I don't want it touching like that because the snowball will tip. It overlaps a little bit. So bring it up so it overlaps. And then I'm going to simply trace around this side, trace around this side, all the way to the bottom. Once I've built my snowman, I'm going to go ahead and add the decorations. Now, I would say look out the window and look at some snowman. or from your experiences, what do you put on a snowman? But since we're living in Florida, we don't have any snowmen outside, do we? No. So let's look at the snowman that Miss Belushi built in her classroom. I've got this giant snowman made out of boxes, and I made my giant snowman out of, it's called quilt batting. And so let's look at that and see some of the decorations that I put on my snowman. Now let's look at the snowman that's in the classroom, and we're going to look at the details to add to our picture. We're going to be adding a nose, eyes, mouth, and if we want to add some buttons down the front, we can, and also a scarf and a hat. Now my snowman doesn't have any sticks for arms, but when I was a kid, I used to put sticks for arms on the snowman. And when we grew up in New Hampshire, we made snowmen all the time, and we would use carrots for a nose. And let's look at the nose I used. I just made this out of felt around a cone, so it's similar to a triangular shape. You see that? It's elongated triangular shape. We would use rocks for the mouth and eyes if we made a real snowman. And we would put our hat, our ski hats, or our winter hats on the snowman. And then we'd also use our own scarf for the snowman scarf. So now we're going to decorate our snowman. So the next step is to add our eyes, nose, and mouth. And I'm gonna let you do your own, but I'm gonna show you how I do my eyes, or how I do my nose. It's going to be a side view carrot nose. And like I told you, it's almost cone shaped. So I start with a number 1 in the very middle. And then I'm going to go diagonally out and down and up. That's how I'm going to make my nose. And then of course you can decorate your mouth any way you want to. You can put rocks in or coal. This could be coal or rocks. You can add, I like adding, now you can use your imagination. Look what I'm going to do. I'm going to add some big rosy red cheeks. And watch how I'm going to do the scarf. It's going to wrap around the neck. So I'm going to come down and around for the scarf. And then I'm going to add the scarf ends coming down, down, and connecting. And then I'm going to add some fringe. And then here's the scarf blowing in the breeze. These are the ends of the scarf after it's tied in a knot. And then I add the fringe. And of course, I like adding lots of details, so I'm adding some nice big buttons to color. And I'm going to put on some sticks for arms. Let's do another one out this way. Up, and add some stick branches. You can even add a friend that came flying by. Here's a bird that's flying by. I'm going to start with a circle for the bird's head. And I'm going to make a beak. And I go down and up like the letter U. And then I'm going to come down and back. And there's my little bird. Oh, let's add a tail. Whoop. Some tail feathers and a wing. And then I've got a little bird that visited my snowman.
What's wing?
A wing, this is the wing, which is like a bird's arm. It's the wing, it's the part that makes him fly. He flaps his wing to fly. Now I'm going to add a hat. So I'm going to go straight line, and then I'm going to do I'll do a big square hat here. I'm going to make it totally straight, and I'm going to turn this into a band. This is the hat brim. And then you can add a pattern to the brim if you want on your hat. And then you can add, let's add the ground at the bottom. So I'm going to come off my snowman on both sides. And then I can color this in. If I push really hard with my crayons, if I do white in the background, pushing really hard with white, I can do snowflakes and snowballs, and then when I paint on top, it'll resist and show, the white will actually show. Now let me show you how I colored in this one. Here I used orange for the carrot's nose, okay, and this can be colored in with some, any color you want really, any color you want. But watch how I did the snowballs. I added some shadow. With the snow outside, if everything is white, sometimes the sky's reflecting and it appears to be blue in the shadows. Like for example, if you look on this picture here, here's some snow prints, the footprints that the children made when they made this snowman. You see? They left some footprints. So the deep part of the snow looked like had shadow in it, so it looked like it was darker areas of, instead of white, it was darker shadow, so it appears to look blue. Same thing with the edges of my snowman. I added some dark shadows to the edges, and I used the blue crayon to make my shadow. To do that, if you color gently and lightly just the edges of your blue, of your snowman, of the ball, and that'll make it look like a sphere. So I'm just putting the blue, I'll make it a little bit darker so you can see it, on my edges. And you can do this with the crayon, or you can do this with your paint if you have paint. Okay, so it's just the edges, and then the shadow would be right underneath the snowman too. It would be darker blue. And where the snowball actually meets the snow, it's really dark color, right in this area. So here's some shadow of the snow. So I wouldn't put a lot, and each snowball would have some of this blue just on the edge to make it look like a round ball, which is a sphere. So my snowman is now having some shadow. So we're not coloring the whole snowball blue, but we're just doing the edges so it can look 3D, okay? And then you can finish coloring your snowman. And this one I put a ski hat on, right here. A ski hat is a hat made out of yarn. A lot of times people will knit it or crochet it, and children from up north would wear it on their heads so that their hair and head does not get cold. It protects them from the cold. Do you have a winter hat you wear? That's like a ski hat. Okay?